The Philosophy of Relationships by Autumn and Ariana. What is the significance of relationship? Anais Nin, a famous essayist and memoirist, said that each friend represents a world in us, a world possibly not born until they arrive, and it is only by this meeting that a new world is born.
I think that relationships are extremely important and they all serve a purpose of some sort. However, I believe that your relationship with yourself truly impacts your relationships with others. When I was a little girl, I used to get bullied a lot. Because of this, my self-confidence plummeted. It was extremely difficult for me to develop healthy relationships with others since my self-confidence was so low. When I entered high school, I stopped getting bullied and was able to develop new relationships. In my junior year, when I started working in my fields of interest, I learned to fully love and accept myself. Since I love and accept who I am, I have been able to keep healthy relationships and learn from and leave the unhealthy ones.
When I was 1 year old, my mother was diagnosed with dissociative identity disorder, also known as split and multiple personality disorder. The result of her illness led to my mother and father to a divorce, leaving me with my grandmother. I would visit my mom on the weekends, but that also soon came to a halt because of her illness became worse. Since my mom was ill, I took in the role of being an adult to make sure she was okay mentally and physically. But that was also a result of putting my mom's issues first and pushing my problems away. I started to bottle everything up and have spurts of anger, tantrums, and depression periods. If it wasn't for my father who came into my life around 10 years old, who made me communicate until 2 to 3 a.m. in the morning, I would still probably bottle up my problems. Even now, it's hard for me to rely on people and communicate if there is something wrong. It is hard to trust people, but that is something I have been working on since I was young. Meeting new, making friends, has slowly tear down that wall, for I have to learn how to communicate to different types of people. It has helped me learn about myself, about what I like, dislike, what I can handle, and what I can't. Where are my values and where are my friends' values? I have solely focused on communication and relationships with myself and others. For the relationships I have built is this resource of how I challenge my problems. For I'm tearing away the old mentality of strong people don't cry, strong people don't need anyone, and a strong person can do everything on their own. How does your relationship with yourself affect your relationship with others? If you really know yourself, you are able to find fulfilling relationships. You are able to skillfully point out the people that you like or dislike. When you know yourself, it is easier for you to connect with others that share your opinions and values, and to challenge those who don't. Your relationship with yourself also determines your attitude with people. People who have a more negative self-opinion are more likely to be a downer on others. Your confidence can lower if you don't know yourself, making it harder to communicate and making it easier for you to stray from who you are. Why do we need relationships with other people? I believe that there's two big reasons why we need relationships with others. The first being that we need companionship. It is simply not healthy for people to be alone. Companionship provides us with positive energy and a place to confide in. It gives us a time to have fun. The second reason why we need a relationship is because they challenge us. When we meet new people, we learn new things. We face different opinions and challenge ours. That alone helps us to grow as human beings.
Does romantic love actually exist? It is arguable that romantic love might not actually exist. Human beings evolved from animals, and although most animals value family and community, they do not necessarily value romantic love. Animals were put on this earth to multiply, and since we evolved from animals, it is a definite possibility that we are only here to do the same thing. It is also common for people, especially in this day and age, to confuse the idea of love with lust and infatuation. Our lust and infatuation with others comes from our natural sex drive.
There are decent numbers of animals that stay with their mates and families, just like people. Humans have more developed minds than animals. We are more emotional and intelligent beings and have values. It is arguable that our intelligence has helped us to realize that we are capable of building lasting relationships. We as people sometimes do not just lust after others. Sometimes our lust can be channeled into emotions and feelings that makes us seek companionship from the person we are attracted to.
Our desire for sex is our desire for sex. Our desire for companionship is our desire for companionship. They are two different things. Developed minds often confuse things, so our minds could just be confusing these two desires for one thing. Why do you think there's so many unhappy relationships, so many divorces? Because people are confusing their desires for attention with their desires of lust. Again, we evolved from animals. In the animal kingdom, community is one thing and multiplication is another thing, and it is arguable that this applies to humans too.
Philosopher Albert Camus said, "If those whom we begin to love could know us as we were before meeting them, they could perceive what they have made of us." Camus seems to support our counter-argument that romantic love is an emotional connection between people that derives from our desire for attention. This goes against the idea that romantic love might just be a term to describe our sex drive.
Plato, on the other hand, seems to support the idea that love is just a concept or a term invented by humans to try to describe our natural sex drive. He believes that love could be a figment of our own imagination. Plato said that love is a serious mental disease.
Plato also said that the life which is unexamined is not worth living. Me and Ariana agree with these words. Not only should we learn to regularly examine ourselves and our relationships, but we should learn to take a closer look at the world around us. There is always something for us to explore and discover every day. And if we don't find the time to take in our surroundings, then we are simply wasting our lives away.